Hello everyone and welcome back to another unboxing. I know my unboxings are like buses, they all arrive at the same time. Today I want to share with you the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Deluxe Edition. So it's 1 and 2 remastered, I should be clearer. Now I've waited a little while for this. I've actually had this knocking around in my house for about a week, so it arrived a week ago, but I'm pretty sure this came out in like November digitally, and I thought, well, it's coming from the same folks that gave us the Tomb Raider 1 to 3 and 4 to 6 collections, and they've done physical editions for those, therefore it only stood to good reason that this would follow. So I held out, and lo and behold, here we are. Now let's just get straight into it because there's not really much for me to say. I've not actually played these games before. I only ever played Blood Omen 2, which I didn't finish, and Defiance, and I'm not even 100% sure I finished that, but I may have. I need to give myself some credit. Anyway, let's take the plastic off and see what's inside. Now it's really hot and horrible here in the UK at the moment, so my hands are quite clammy, which does mean I might get some horrible fingerprints all over this, but we'll hold out. Now, before I get onto the box itself, one thing I noticed just before I started recording, there's like a little disclaimer on the bottom of the box. I'm not sure if the camera's going to focus on it all too well, but it basically says something along the lines of the contents not being endorsed by Sony Interactive. So let me read it word for word. The Steelbook case, original soundtrack CD and art book are not endorsed or licensed by Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe Limited. So I'm guessing that's kind of Asper Media's or even Crystal Dynamics way of saying we own this shit, not Sony. I don't know. Maybe any legal buffs or copyright experts or whatever in the comments, throw your 2 cents in, because I would like to understand a bit more as to why they felt the need to put that on the box. Anyway, the box itself, it's actually, I thought it was just a design, but it's not. It's actually cut out. So the actual key art is on the inside, and what they've done is the deluxe box just has holes in it to make it look like Raziel's kind of clawed through, which is kind of cool. So you know what the front looks like. The sides just repeat the logo, and then the back just tells us what's on the inside, which I've pretty much already said because of that disclaimer. So we should find a physical game, which is the base standard copy you can buy separately, the Steelbook, the art book, and the greatest hit soundtrack, which, you know, that's perfect. That's exactly what I expect to find in these sorts of things. So I have forgotten to bring up a knife once again. So let's open the box very carefully. I creased it, sorry. I'm just gonna dump it out here so you can see a bit better now what I'm talking about. I like that. That's a cool feature. I like that. So the first thing I think I'll just cover is the base game. There's nothing really super special to write home about there. I don't think there's anything inside other than the disc. No, it sounds like there's only a disc in there. There's no pamphlet or codes or anything like that. And then the back of the box pretty much looks the same as the back of the deluxe box. So there you go. There's piece number 1. Now piece number 2, we have the art book. So that's what we had on the inside of the scratch marks. So it's more or less just a close-up of that artwork there, which is fine. Oh look, and we've got Kain just kind of knocking about in the background. I do like Kain's design in the later games. Right, that's the front. So it's actually, so even though the design's that way round, it's actually a landscape booklet, just to confuse people. But there we go. We've got Raziel before he was like zombified, vampirified, deadified, I don't know. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of digging undead Raziel more. It suits him. Oh, we've got some art for Kain. I'm not too... I mean, I didn't think Kain featured all that heavily in the games. I thought you kind of saw him at the start and then Raziel just goes off on his own adventure. But I'm going to assume that you see more of Kain than what I allowed myself to believe. Oh, we've got comparison screenshots. So that's good. Oh, I mean, we've got early sketches and concepts of this. I think this is the same lady on the front of the box, actually. There we go. 103. I'm going to, for argument's sake, let's call it 104. So there's 104 pages here of a mishmash of early concepts, comparisons, high definition art, that sort of thing. So that's you know, it's there. Next we have the soundtrack CD, and we're going cardboard, not plastic, so that's fine, that's good. You know, it's a bit more environmentally friendly, which is all good. We have that key art repeated here that I like, so there's that for you again. And then we've got Soul Reaver 1 and 2, but I'm gonna assume Soul Reaver 2 must have reused music from the first game, because the soundtrack for the first game is an awful lot bigger than the soundtrack for the second game, which speaks to me that they just reused some stuff. So we've got a total of 34 tracks for game number 1 and 13 tracks for number 2. Check the description box. I'll list the whole stuff, the whole track listing in the description box in case you're trying to track it down on Spotify or wherever and you want to just do a comparison in case you think you're missing tracks anywhere. There we go. I'm sure there's some music lingering in the background, so I'll credit which one I use. Now lastly, and by no means least, we have the Steelbook. So we have Kain's sword on the front, and is it the Nosgoth? It is Nosgoth, isn't it? That's like the thingy in the middle of the pillars, if I remember right. Yeah, I just remember the word Nosgoth. I don't really remember what happens in Nosgoth, not really. And then we have the back. So yeah, they're kind of, what's the word? Not symmetrical, but they've got like a repeating sort of thematical design. Oh, and then we have Kain again inside. So they have reused quite a bit of art across the board there, but I like this art. I like this piece for Kain. So yeah, not gonna lie, I don't think it's like the bestest steelbook in the world, but it's certainly not the worstest either. But there you have it. That is the grand total of the deluxe edition. So to recap, we have base game, fairly stacked art book, fairly stacked soundtrack, an 8 steelbook. It probably won't go on my shelf. And then, quite honestly, I think the most impressive part is the box. I really like that. I just hope I don't tear or break it. But that's it. That's the grand total. Where I got it from, how much I paid, all that sort of stuff will be in the description box. But if you have any questions that can't be answered by that, please feel free to list them below. Or indeed, have you bought this also? What were your thoughts? Did you like it? And have you played the games? I'm certainly going to try and get around to it, though life gets in the way sometimes. What can I say? But yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. So thank you very much for watching if you've gotten all the way to this point. If you want to do that, you can. You're not obligated to. But it just lets me know that you still enjoy watching this type of video as and when I do make them. Speaking of as and when I do make them, if you do the whole subscribe thing and turn the notifications on, I'm going to assume they still work. I hope that they do. But then that way you'll be able to keep up with when I do make more unboxings, or indeed if I do return to streaming anytime soon, or if I do another Let's Play. At the time of making this video, I think I have 1 episode of Karma left to go live. But if you're watching this quite far into the future, that whole playlist should be available. So check out my channel. There's lots of other stuff you can watch, is basically what I'm trying to say. So thank you once again. I hope you enjoyed, and I will hopefully see you again next time. Bye!